I highly recommend the DHS Trusted Tester certification if you're going to be involved with the technical side of accessibility. And we've got several bullet points to go through on why this is the best certification to have. Before we get to the bullet points, in recent videos where I'm talking about the upcoming YouTube membership for this channel, I've emphasized that if you're going to be an auditor, and remediation goes right along with this, but if you're going to be an auditor, then you need to have expertise in auditing. Now, what's happening, and this has been happening, but it's accelerating now, is that more and more people are recognizing the immense demand for accessibility and compliance. So more and more people are attracted to this. They recognize how lucrative this space can be. And so they are looking to enter accessibility and compliance, which I'm encouraging with this membership. There are many ways to make money in accessibility and compliance. But what is so important is that you fit in the role that you fit into and that you're not exaggerating what you can do. So if you are holding yourself out as an auditor, then you need to have technical accessibility expertise. And this goes along with anything else. And part of what I'm going to talk about in the membership is how it won't take you that long to develop the expertise for different subjects. Now, for auditing, I actually recommend that you don't become an auditor if you aren't already. If you really want to be, go for it, but just recognize that it takes a while to build up the requisite skills, knowledge, expertise, and experience. So it's very important that you not misstate what you can do. You don't lie about what you can do. And so the reason why I think DHS Trusted, well, one of the reasons why I think the DHS Trusted Tester certification is such a good idea is because you can immediately separate yourself from all of those other people who are claiming that they have expertise when they really do not. So let's read what this is. This is a snippet from I think this is from 508.gov. Here we have DHS Trusted Tester Process and Certification Program. The DHS Trusted Tester process is a manual test approach that aligns with the ICT testing baseline and provides repeatable and reliable conformance test results. DHS offers training and formal accessibility testing certification for the DHS Trusted Tester process. Agencies that adopt the Trusted Tester process only accept test results from individuals who have been certified as trusted testers. All right, so that's about the program, that's about the process. And going back to what I was saying earlier, this is going to become more of a necessary baseline unless you just have credentials otherwise. But so many people are going to enter this space, they're not going to be qualified, and the market is going to recognize this, and they're going to look out for a safe haven of sorts. And I think this is an excellent baseline to have because one, you can't get it. It's difficult. And that's actually one of the bullet points that I have on the document here. Let's actually go to this. Where did I put this? So I don't know. I don't even know. Oh, I put that certification is difficult, makes it valuable. So it's going to take you multiple weeks to get this certification. You're going to have to put in dozens of hours. And even though it's free, it's not, this requires commitment just to get the certification alone. So the certification itself doesn't mean you're an expert, but it does mean that you are invested and they're not giving away this certification. So it's really good and it helps separate you from the rest of the crowd. Now I have here 1 to 1.5 months timeline is quite possible. I think 3 months is probably par. And then there's actually a 6-month limit on the ability to get certification. So you can only take up to 6 months, but most people will get through this sooner. It is self-paced, it's all online. And again, depending on where you're at, it might take you from 40 hours to 80 hours to complete everything involved, because what you need to do is you need to go through these courses and then you need to take a practice test and then you actually take the exam. So it's rigorous, right? This is going to be something where you have to put in real effort. So it's a great way to just immediately put yourself into consideration as to, like, I'm on another level and I have this certification. And what's going to happen in the marketplace is those that do not are going to be separated out and they will not be considered the same. Now, of course, there are other factors in place. So let's just say you have 10 years experience, but you don't have the DHS Trusted Tester certification, then your credentials, your portfolio is going to speak for itself. But for people who are newer in accessibility and people who really want to be auditors or they want to be involved in the remediation side, then this is the certification that I highly recommend. So reading through the bullet points I have here, it's not just the exam, but the courses you must go through. So there are courses as a part of this, and there's also that practice exam that I mentioned. What I really like about this is it's free. So this is available to anybody. When you look at the IAAP exams, I think it's $555 to take the exam if you're not a member, and then $455 or something along those lines if you are a member. So really expensive. And this is the better exam. This is the more practical exam. Like this is an exam where if someone was coming to me and they said, hey, I want to audit for you, this is the exam I'm going to look for over the IAAP certification. Now, if you have that certification, it doesn't work against you, and it looks good. It looks like you are willing to put in the time and the effort, so that's great, and it just shows that you're invested. You're not. This isn't something that you decided to do over the weekend, and then next weekend you'll have a new project. It looks like you're serious about this, so it's good. It doesn't mean that you're technically capable, but it does. The more certification you stack, the better it just looks for when you're offering services. So in a previous video, I've talked about the WAS and the CPAC exams and how having that certification isn't necessary, that clients aren't asking for it. Now, clients still aren't asking for it. Very few are. But what I anticipate is that it's going to be a matter of, hey, we need to make sure that you're meeting a minimum baseline before you offer this service. We want to make sure that you're serious. We want to make sure you're legitimate. And I think the DHS Trusted Tester certification is a great way to just divide those that are serious from those that are not. So there's no payment, there's no renewal, there's no continuing education. The other part I really dislike about the CPAC and the WAS exam is there's a continuing education. So even once you pass the exam, you're not done with it. You have to keep going on with it to maintain it. And so I really dislike that. And here you don't have to do that. You need an 85% score to pass. It used to be 90%, but they've made some improvements with the exam. And then I have here step five, or not step five, number five, better than WAS. So better than the Web Accessibility Specialist exam, because WAS showcases more technical and conceptual knowledge, whereas Trusted Tester demonstrates applied knowledge, plus shows that you have the skill and the ability to audit or test. And then so I have number six, bestows credibility. So a baseline for auditing, baseline for remediation. That the certification is difficult to get, that it takes you weeks to get it, makes it valuable, and it might take you months, but that's part of what makes it so valuable is you can't get it easily. And I do like that they make you go through all of these different walls, so it's not like, oh well, here's an exam and then you can use AI to take the exam. It's like you have to put in the investment, you have to put in the time, and because of that, it makes it difficult. It dissuades a lot of people, and so it makes it that much more valuable when you do have it. It will be relevant if you are inside of the YouTube membership. This is something that's been top of mind for me because I want to make sure that what we're doing inside of the YouTube membership is going to be, there are going to be less people that are going to be in this that are claiming that they can do something when they cannot. Because that's very important. And there are so many ways, even if you're non-technical, there are so many ways to make money in this space. So don't think you're out just because you can't be an auditor or you can't remediate. You're not out at all. But it is so important to be aligned with what you excel in and what your role is versus versus anything else. You need to be able to excel in and deliver on what you say you can. And if that's not the case, then you shouldn't be in the membership. One, you likely won't be. But yeah, it's like, just if you want to be on the technical side of accessibility, then the Section 508 Trusted Tester certification makes a lot of sense. If you have the experience, if you have the portfolio behind you and it shows and it's tangible, then it's really not a problem. But this is more for people who are newer to accessibility, who are looking to enter this space. And so that is number seven, that it will be relevant inside of the YouTube membership. And it doesn't make you an expert. So just because you've passed this exam and you have this certification, it doesn't mean that you're home free. It just means that you are invested and it's a great starting point, and that it means that you have some proficiency. But it's not just like you pass this exam and you never have to think about anything again. It's like, this is a great start, and it's a way to separate yourself from all of the incoming people that are claiming they can audit digital assets. And that's what I have here as number 9. It immediately separates you from those who claim expertise. So this is what I'm seeing. It's not necessarily a trend, but it's something I see coming. I see it coming. And I think if you want to be an auditor, if you want to be a remediator, then this is just going to be something that's going to be expected under your resume bullet points. So if I have any resources, I'll include this in the description. There's someone on YouTube named Skills Singh, and he does a really good job breaking down the DHS Trusted Tester exam and what you can expect as you're going through these different courses. So I'll link to his video in the description. He's covered this a lot. He's done a really good job with it. So I will link to that in the description. But if you have less years of experience, I highly recommend this, especially, people are going to catch on to this. Even if clients aren't asking now, then I think you'll start to see them ask more in the future, especially when people work with people that aren't actually experts in accessibility. Then it's going to be found out, right? Like, it's going to be realized in the marketplace. It may take a while, but it's just going to make it more difficult to you. And beyond that, even if you could get it, like, even if you're able to get clients without it, again, you don't want to offer services that don't actually match up with what you can do. So if you're offering audit services, then you want to be an expert in auditing. Same with remediation work. Obviously, accessibility is a specialized skill. It's a specialized subset within development. So it's really important. I think it will be very helpful. And again, you don't need this. This is for people that are really insistent upon being in the technical side. Otherwise, just depending on what you want to do, you need to align yourself with. You need to be aligned with what you can offer. So what you are telling people you can do, what I'm saying is, you need to be able to actually do it. You need to have the expertise to actually do that. And if you don't have it yet, then you just need to put in that work and investment and make sure that you do become an expert in what you're offering. And expertise you can't develop expertise simply by taking a course. And I see that to some degree, is some people think they can take a course and then they'll become an expert and then they can offer services. No, it's just, think about playing basketball. You could take a course in playing basketball, but it doesn't mean that you're good at basketball. It just means that you've taken a course about basketball. So I hope that analogy works. It's going to take, you have to put in repetitions, you have to put it into action, you have to put it into practice. And so that's what's really important. And if you want this to come sooner, then you've got to put in more work sooner. But it all depends on what you want to do. There are so many ways to make money in this space, and many of them are not even technical. So you can apply marketing, you can apply networking, you can apply sales, you can bring that all forward to accessibility. And of course, you want to learn the web content accessibility guidelines. Along with that, you'd also want to. I just remembered to show my book. You also want to read this book, because it's going to help you understand the terms and concepts in this space. And of course, when you read a book, you don't absorb it all. So I'd recommend reading this at least twice. But if there's something that you want to do in accessibility and compliance, just make sure that you're thorough, make sure that you put in the requisite time and repetitions necessary, and then you'll have it. My book is Accessibility and Compliance. I will include that in the description. If you're thinking about entering this space, this book will help. It's beyond just education. This book will help you decide whether or not you actually want to enter this space. So it's got so for the cover of my book, I made it the accessible.org logo, and then you've got accessibility and compliance. So this book is on Amazon. I highly recommend it. I also highly recommend the DHS Trusted Tester certification. And it's how the market is evolving. There are more people now in this space, and along with that, more people have entered, and they're not. Some of the people, the new market entrants, or just some of the people that are offering services they're not ready to offer the services that they are. And so what I'm getting at is, I think now is a good time to go ahead and make sure that you have something tangible to separate yourself away from those newer entrants and the people that are making claims of expertise. This is a way that you have tangible evidence that you at least have a baseline for expertise. Not that you're actually an expert, but that you are invested, you are serious about this. This isn't something you decided over the weekend. This is something that you have put in time into, and that you're at least minimally competent, right? Like, you're getting into that proficiency level, and then beyond that, start thinking about putting in the repetitions, because the repetitions and the experience is what fosters expertise. There was one more thing I wanted to add here. Oh, and again, prioritize, even if you want the IAAP certification, prioritize this one. This is the one to have. It's free. There's no ongoing continuing education, at least that I've seen, at least that I'm aware of. And I will link to Skills Singh. I will link to his video. He's got multiple videos on the DHS Trusted Tester program, and his breakdowns are really good. So I'll include that in the description. And remember, YouTube memberships are closing in. We're getting really close. It's only a matter of time until I hit the hours threshold. Once I do, I've already uploaded a lot of the Netflix library. When I say Netflix library, I mean the videos where I'm talking about how to make money in this space, how to be a professional in this space. It's not only for accessibility professionals, it's also for people who are new to accessibility, who want to enter this space. Of course, this is 2026 is the year. So I'm really close. That membership is coming up soon. So Yeah, I'll include resources. I'll include links to the resources I've discussed in the description for this video.